what is scary honesty? So this is a term coined by Marshall Rosenberg. It's scary because of how terrifying it is to tell people what's true for us. Can you relate to that? I know I can. So the common problem is it doesn't matter how pretty you make your honesty. There's this thing that Marshall called the jackal postal delivery service. Doesn't matter how beautifully you deliver it, the other person is likely to hear a judgment, and they're likely to need empathy. So today, we're not going to focus a whole lot on the empathy part. We're just working on the delivery. That's all the time we have for today. So part of learning how to be honest is dealing with people freaking out. All right. So there's a crucial distinction here in nonviolent communication that we're afraid of our own internal reactions to their reactions. And you know, and this goes to the heart of nonviolent communication. We're not afraid of other people. We're afraid of our own internal reactions. So I want to call that out. And it may take a while, and by the way, it may take a while for you to actually believe that and have that be part of your experience. It's okay. You're not likely to get it all in one workshop. So we're scared about our own thoughts and feelings evoked by the other person. The invitation is don't blame them for your fear and nervousness. So a lot of the practice of nonviolent communication is to take responsibility for feelings by acknowledging our needs. So I have a feeling because I have some needs that are up, all right? So I might be feeling nervous because I want maybe harmony with my community. All right, so it's around my needs, and that's why the feelings come up. So the goal in scary honesty is to express ourselves in a way that builds a flow of connection. So that's the goal behind the practice. So I've learned to pause and stop talking. Just would love to hear from maybe a couple people on how that either resonates or if you have a question related to that. Or we'll just look at each other for about a minute. That works too. Layla, I see that your hand is up. Go ahead, Layla.
So I think that's, I mean, how you said it's our own internal reactions is liberating because I have control over that, you know, and I see that, you know, what's prevented me from, I guess, being more forthright with people has been that it's that, you know, mostly fear within me. And so it's liberating to see it.
Thanks for sharing that. So you feel relieved to know that you have more control around your experience, so that you can have maybe a sense of empowerment to show up.
Yes,
thanks,
thank
Layla.
you.
Thanks for sharing. And I see a couple of other hands, Laura and then Rena.
I really resonate with what you said about, like, I might be feeling nervous because I want harmony. And I've been watching Marshall Rosenberg on YouTube. He has a ton of information on ton of videos on YouTube. And he talks about how practicing it just in your head can be helpful. And I find that's a good idea for now, because when I practice it out loud, it often doesn't come out the way I want it to. So I've been trying to practice in my head. And I just feel like I noticed today that I am not the only person feeling nervous because I want harmony, but somebody else that I want harmony with seems to be feeling very nervous about the same thing.
Yeah. Thank you, Laura. And thanks for highlighting that, sort of like this need to practice beforehand, to do something ahead of time, because if you just let it come out, it might come out not in a way that you want.
That's what I keep my journal for, to write it out before I have the conversation.
Yeah. So Laura, and so journaling, I love what you just said about your own inner practice and doing it, figuring it out by yourself. And you can also leverage your community, other people that are trying to learn this consciousness. So we're going to do a little bit of that together. So the workshop is a combination of what you just said, doing my own writing and things. And we also get to practice. We're going to have, I think, 2 other breakout groups where we get to practice with each other. So thanks for pitching in, Laura. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Rena, and then we'll go ahead and move on. Go ahead, Rena. Please unmute yourself. And if you're talking, I can't hear you.
There we go. Even if I intellectually understand, it just doesn't help me emotionally. It's like I'm disconnected between my brain and my heart. For example, when I feel somebody is angry with me, I just freeze. And intellectually, I know, hey, they have entitlement to whatever feelings they feel towards me, and it's not going to kill me for somebody to be ticked off. But emotionally, I then freeze up myself. And I'm here to try and join the other things too. It's my job to work on the roadblocks that I set in my own path. If I'm going to communicate well with others, I have to let them be themselves without overreacting. And that I find very, very hard to do.
Thanks, Rena. Yes, there's so much about showing up honestly that involves our own reactivity. I actually have a whole 10-week series on freeing yourself from reactivity, but that's a different workshop. So in our workshop today, we're focusing mostly on the expression side. And in the series, we're working on, a little bit of the internal and the empathy side. So there's always 2 sides to a conversation, right? There's the person speaking and the person listening. So in the series, we work on both. Thanks, Rena. And hey, I see Alex, your hand is up, and then I'd love to move on. And I see another hand as well. Go ahead, Alex. Do you wanna speak? Is this?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think for me, like one of the big challenges is that I will be like so afraid kind of from like childhood stuff of like, oh, if I say anything to this person, they're going to get mad at me or they're going to yell at me or whatever. Like I put all these like reactions that I think they're going to have into the space. And I end up either like avoiding the conversation completely because I'm too scared, or like going in like expecting that reaction, so I'm already like on the defensive because I think that they're gonna come at me.
Right.
And neither of those really yield good results.
Yeah, thanks for owning that. And it sounds like you're aware of your story that you have, that hey, they're gonna have a reaction, and I'm sensing that creates some stress for you. I'm hearing that creates stress and it keeps you from having it. Yeah, and that's why we're here. Let's call it out. This is what's going on. We're nervous about our own internal reaction. And in fact, as you shared, your stories are feeding into the reaction already. So yeah, there's a little bit of internal work that we got to do. Thank you, Alex. So Shadab, I see your hand is up. Is this, would love to if you could keep this like brief, so that we can move on. I'd love to. Go ahead.
In my profession, you have to have difficult conversations all the time. And one of the areas that I'm interested in is around setting boundaries, even during your practice of NVC.
Yeah.
You're assuming good intent, and how do you not get manipulated where you are being completely transparent and maybe you have crossed your boundaries there in order to make a connection, but it is twisted against you. So just something I quickly wanted to mention.
Yeah, sure. So you'd like the black belt NVC in the first free introductory workshop. I get it. I wish it were that easy. Yeah, you said a lot in there. and I just want to respond briefly. NVC is great at setting boundaries, but you can set boundaries in a way that honors their experience and honors your truth. So, so being compassionate isn't about being a doormat. So what I love about NVC is it gives me the tools to fully express myself and to take action on behalf of my needs and to serve life, right? So serving life might involve setting, you know, a healthy boundary or leaving the relationship, you know. So NVC does support all of that. All right. So this has been great discussion. This is exactly this is the why we're here, right? So let's go ahead and get started.